Hey, everybody, what's going on? Let's see if we are live. What's going on, good people? Wanted to jump on here really quick. It's been a while since I did a live, and this is uh, totally unplanned for today. But I wanted to jump on here really quick and just share something with you guys that I thought was important. I did not actually know about it until this morning when I woke up. And I think it either came out this morning or it came out yesterday, but I didn't get any notifications on it. But as soon as I got it, I went ahead, installed it, and got everything going. So, look, we've been in the house for a while now. This pandemic thing's been going on for about 6 months. And a lot of us that have children, what is one thing that they did kind of toward the springtime and kind of as we went into the summertime, they wanted to get on these video games. So, you know, I'm the type of dad. I grew up with the stuff, so I don't really mind it. I do monitor it, but there are a couple of things that I've noticed over the last couple of years, particularly with a couple of games that kids just, for some reason or another, they just love playing these particular games. And one of them is Fortnite. There's another one called Apex Legends, and there is I can't think of the other one. But the point is, right now with the kids, especially where we are being in virtual learning, so they're already sitting in front of computers like all day. We got to really start to monitor their screen time, right? And so a lot of times what happens is they'll be in class and they'll have a break and they want to jump on the Xbox or PlayStation, whatever. This video is specifically about the Xbox. And so, or, when they get out of school, they might want to jump on the Xbox. So with me, the big thing is my son, he's in a transition year because he went to middle school this year. And so he left and he went to a different school. So he left a lot of his schoolmates behind, and so they've been communicating on Xbox through Xbox Live, et cetera, all this time. And so now, when it comes time to buckle down and do the work, I've been chatting with some parents, and a lot of parents are having challenges with getting their kids to focus. I will say this: I believe that we haven't taken Fortnite all the way away from Clark, and I'm gonna say this: we didn't even let him start playing it until early this year, and now I see what the big thing was, but we've been really monitoring his interaction on that since school started. And so Xbox came out with something that I'm gonna share with you guys today. I don't know if you've heard of it, or if not, make sure if you know any other parents that have children, make sure you share this video with them if those kids are playing Xbox. But they came out with the Xbox Family app. The reason that this is important is I was looking for this because when Clark first got his account, I didn't just, since I already had an account, I went ahead and basically created his account under my account, right? So, and also, I don't know if you guys know this, but like I have my own Xbox and he has his Xbox. And so there's also a family account system where we only have, like most of the games we have, we only buy one game and you can share it between the two systems and you can play at the same time, et cetera. But that's neither here nor there. So one of the things that was important to me was when I set up his account, I wanted to monitor like who he was being friends with, and just different what games he could play, the rating for the games, all this other stuff, right? So I set everything up based on the system and the parental controls that they seem to have in the system. But then I started noticing he started adding friends to his friends list, and I'm like, how are you being able to add all these things? So this is where this app comes into play, which I think is great for us. I'm gonna show you guys this right here. So this is kind of how the app looks. It's called the Xbox Family app. If you see it, you get notifications in there. Any account that's linked to yours. So I signed into the account under my master account, and what that allows me to do is since Clark's account is connected to mine, I'm able to view everything that he's doing as far as if I'm like not at home. You can do this kind of through the other app too, their main app, when you can see if people are online. But inside this app, it lets me know if he's online. It tells me any notifications that he's getting. I can monitor who he can talk to, who he can't talk to. I can hey, what's up, Dex? I can see how long he's been on the game. So like, he watches YouTube a lot from his Xbox, and so we watch that as well. So I can go in there and I can see exactly how long he's been like on YouTube. I can see what games he's playing. I can see who he's interacted with on his friends list. And one of the biggest features here is this feature. If you can see in this example here, it says that this particular person wants to add more screen time. So you can set up schedules within the app. Right now, because I just installed it today, it's open like 24 hours. But I can actually go in and pull up all 7 days of the week and specifically put in the times that he's allowed to actually get on the Xbox. So if he, based on his app, if he tries to get on anything outside of that time frame, he won't be able to get on and play, which I think is important. I mean, he's a great kid. He doesn't abuse it or anything like that. He always asks, can he get on? But the main thing is, I'm trying to monitor their screen time because with all this Zoom learning and all this other stuff, I don't want them sitting in front of a monitor like every day. I'm going to tell you, parents, is if your kids are asking you to play Fortnite and they're not playing it right now, I would think twice about that game. If the biggest thing is going to be able to monitor it. So the big Fortnite, it's not as violent. It's a shooting game, and it's not as violent as some of the games that me and the fellas play. But I will say, one of the things that I noticed about it has a lot of bright lights. It has a lot of flashing lights. It has a lot of things that I think act as stimulants towards kids. And so I've been really being mindful of that lately, monitoring his behavior before he gets on the game, after he gets off the game. So right now our pattern is kind of like, no Xbox during the week. And then when you want to play on the weekends, especially if you want to play Fortnite, this is the time frame you can play, and you cannot play it at night. Like, I only let him play it during the day. It's not because it's scary. It's just if there are any stimulus going on with the game, I don't want him ramped up before he's going to sleep, and so his mind is racing. Because one of the things, and I'll be honest with you guys, that we started noticing, because a lot of his friends, even when they were playing soccer, a lot of his friends were playing it, and I was like, no, you're not getting on it, because I just kept hearing all this stuff. And then finally, when the pandemic hit, Yolanda says, she says that she never really thought about the lights, right? So, it's funny. I started putting two and two together when I was thinking about this, because if you ever gone to a movie or some type of light show, and they says this attraction has flashing lights and all this other stuff, and it could, trigger whatever some of the conditions we've seen. I don't know if it's seizures and different things like that. So it made me start wondering, like, okay, if that's triggering that, what are some of these flashing lights in the game and stuff like that doing? So the game itself, they do a lot of creative things. The biggest draw with the game is that it's free, right? It's free, and you can do a lot of like buys within the game, right? So it's a free game, but they make billions of dollars. So go figure, because there's a lot of in-app purchases and different things that you can make, and you can play the game cross-platform, which means like Clark's on the Xbox, his friends could be on a PC, they could be on a mobile device, they could be on a PlayStation, they can kind of all play the game because it's cross-platform. So that's why the community of it is so big. But this app here, I think, is really important because one of the things is he's getting older. He's 11, be 12 next year. I want to make sure that we're keeping the parameters in place for him, but at the same time, I'm trying to give him freedom to make the right decisions without me just hawking on him all the time and doing little things. So one of the things I'm happy about this app is that it's going to give me the flexibility to give him a set of instructions and then making sure he's carrying it out. And if he's not carrying it out, I can kind of monitor it with literally not being over his shoulder. So I think this is really good. Again, based on this graphic here, the kids, they can request more screen time if they want, which is something that's a really good feature. Video games is part of the culture. I remember when we were years ago, even though I've always played them, you would hear, oh, video games, there's nothing in video games. Now you got guys out here making $500,000 a month professionally gaming. And I'm not exaggerating that number. He's probably making more than that. And I'm not saying this is a career choice at all, but I'm just saying right now, if we look at where we are with technology, if we look at the classrooms, like everybody's really upset about our classroom situation right now. And if we really think about it, this is where everything is going in the first place. To me, it's kind of a test run. So I was kind of telling Kelly, look, let's get the kids going, get them everything that they need so they can be successful, but also understand that we can fight this now, not us personally, but people, we can fight this distance learning now, this Zoom learning now. But this is where things are going. If you really look at it, they already have that. And that's why I don't understand. I understand with kids, right? I don't want to be insensitive. But they already have this in place for colleges, where adults can online college. You know what I mean? So I could very well see a situation where this becomes more prevalent maybe in grade school. And at the very least, I think this last 6 months has shown us that we're going to need to stay flexible with this option at least, because there may be a point in time coming where everything's normal and then they have to hit a switch and go to virtual learning. And we have to be prepared, have spaces set up in our homes for the children. I was really kind of bummed this year that with Clark going to sixth grade, a big year for him, that he was going to have to start it at home. But then I started looking at the bright side of everything with Kelly and I, and just being super grateful that we're able to be here with our children. I know so many other families are not quite as fortunate, and there's a lot of juggling that's going on. And I think each and every family, you kind of have to pull the bright side out of this situation. I also am aware that children learn differently. So while I think a lot of stuff that's been going on here in Maryland, especially because our governor, he's been pretty steady through the whole pandemic, right? And then we're here in PG County, so we had planned to go virtual. Really, our virtual date runs right now through January 29th. So we went out, bought all the stuff to get the kids situated so they could be virtual. And then 3 days before class started, our governor was like, yeah, it's safe for schools to reopen. Let's start getting the kids back in the classroom safely, which it left a bad taste in people's mouth because a lot of people are on board for it. And I know because they have children with special needs and a lot of parents aren't able to work within the home. But then also it seemed to kind of have a political spin on it too, because we're basically a Democratic state, but we have a Republican governor. And so he's a great guy. I mean, he's been doing a phenomenal job with our state, but it just seemed to be a little politically charged. So a lot of parents have just had to kind of take the well-being of their children and put that at the forefront. And I think these are just some of the things, like we're talking about Xbox and different things, but this is like their reality now. Let me see. I got a couple comments here. Yolanda said, I think a lot of parents use this as a tool to keep their kids in the house so they won't get in trouble. This is good. I'm put this on screen, Yolanda. She said she thinks a lot of parents use this as a tool to keep kids in the house so they don't get in trouble. But I think it's the opposite because I have nephews that play this game for hours. Exactly. She also says it's an option already here for seniors here. Wow, to do virtual before the pandemic started. That's actually really good. I think gaming, that's a very interesting point that she brings up. Gaming, and I had to be super mindful of that, because it's so easy to give a kid a phone, an iPad, a game, say, hey, go ahead and do this while I go do this. And one thing that I've noticed is kids aren't really playing outside anymore, right? They're not going outside, getting their exercise. So then we're dealing with childhood obesity, and we're dealing with so many different things. And so it's like all part of different cogs on the wheel, on the gear. And I think we have to address each one of those because they're all important. It's not a one size fits all, but I do know gaming is something. It's almost like I can call any of my friends that have kids that are gaming and tell them, like, especially Fortnite, and say, yo, man, like, how's your son or daughter act? And before I even get it out, it's always the same response. Like, that particular game, right? Initially, when I saw what it was doing, I was like, that's it. I actually went through and deleted it off his system. Then I went through and scrubbed his friends list. Then I started thinking about it. Like, it got really bad. I'm gonna tell you guys some examples of what I was saying, so maybe this will help you. It gets really interesting after long periods of play when it goes on consecutively for hours, right? And time goes by so fast, and we don't really realize, man, how long have you been on this? So also within this app, it keeps the clock like, yo, they've had this much screen time today. Like I'm pretty sure Android phones do it, but I know iPhones do it too, where you can kind of go and it'll give you your screen time and show you how much you've been in certain apps, how long you've been on Facebook, how long you've been on Instagram, et cetera, et cetera. It's all part of a mental health awareness kind of campaign that a lot of these gaming companies and IT companies started a couple years ago because they started looking at the trends on Facebook and following the data. And so they started implementing a lot of these things into the devices so at least they're not being held liable. But what that means is, on the other hand, we have to do our part and make sure that we're monitoring this because it's so easy to give these kids devices and then just kind of have them, like she said, like babysit themselves. And so I want to encourage all of you all, if you do have kids, man, like get them, not to take it from them, but make sure you just monitor it. Like I said, Clark can't play Fortnite at night because I want to make sure. And then sometimes I'll give him like a 2-hour window to play. But after that, it's cut. And then I don't want him playing it at night like I mentioned before because, they're constantly, if you've ever seen a kid playing a game, and I'm going to say this, and again, I don't have a medical degree or anything like that, but going through some of these experiences and observing it for myself, and I really notice how, especially in our community, how they're quick to medicate our children, right? And I think a lot of times we go with it because we're not really looking at, I don't want to say the symptoms, but we're not really looking at the signs, right? So, for instance, one of the things that I noticed, and I'm gonna specifically say this for Fortnite, and I'm gonna tell you why. One of the things I've noticed with it is if they play for a long period of time and then they just get off of it, it's almost like they're still ramped up because you gotta realize they're staring at this screen and there's so much stuff going on. It's all these flashing lights and everything else that they're processing. They're trying to get this kill, do this, do that. When they cut it off, their brain doesn't cut off. The game is gone, but their brain is still in hyper mode. And so, they'll start doing little silly things around. He's like, why are you doing that, right? Like, why are you doing these little things? And so it dawned on Kelly, and I was like, the games, like, we cut it down because we're like, their brains are still going. Even though we take the game from them, their brains are still on go. And so that's why we monitor it. The reason I say Fortnite is because I guess I kind of did a little study. I noticed the difference between Fortnite and like Roblox or other games where even in Fortnite, his yelling was higher or, different things like that. And when we cut it, everything like just normalized. There was one period of time, something that happened, and I took his Xbox for like 2 weeks. And everything normalized, right? And I'm like, I guarantee you there are parents out here who doctors are telling them certain things, and this is probably part of the issue because now these kids got phones and iPads at like 1 and 2 years old. You know what I mean? Like they're always like, you ever seen a kid get a book? I've seen videos of this. They'll get a book and they're looking at the pages, and when they want to turn the pages, they try to stretch the screen or do something else. I mean, that's just how like programmed we all are. Like even when I'm shooting, my camera doesn't do it. Some of the newer cameras do, but on the back screen when you take the picture and look, people come up to the screen and the first thing they do, they look at it and they want to see the next picture. They just start swiping. I'm like, nah, it's a camera. It doesn't really work like that. So I wanted to just come in here and share this with you guys. If this information, like I said, if you know anybody else that has children, if this information could be useful to them, make sure you share this with them. Because like I said, some of the stuff can be mitigated. It's not, we just got to monitor it a lot of times. And if you are a parent, like I said, I know I still game with some of my friends. We got like 1 or 2 games we play, and it's like we play like on Fridays, that's it. And but if you're a parent and you're not really kind of in touch with the gaming world, you really might not understand how a lot of this stuff correlates to each other, and you might start thinking that certain things are one way when they're actually another. Thanks, Yolanda, for the share. I really appreciate that. So yeah, as I come up with this stuff, I'll definitely share it with you guys. I wanted to shoot this video for YouTube, so I'm gonna stream it live now, but I'll repurpose it. So if you can't find it on Facebook, one of the things you'll be able to do is go to our YouTube channel at 300 Fathers, and it'll be posted there probably by tomorrow. So appreciate you guys hanging out with me for a few minutes. You guys have a great Thursday. Check in with you later. Take care.